There's a myth we love to tell ourselves. Art is above politics. That museums are neutral. That a painting can float in a perfect little bubble of beauty. But history says, nope. Because when the world catches fire, when power lies, when bodies are threatened, when names are erased, artists don't always whisper. Sometimes they shout. Sometimes they make an image so loud you can't unsee it. Sometimes they turn the paint into a siren. Welcome to Art Happens, the divine mess of art history, presented by J-Squared Atelier. I'm James William Moore, and this is Behind the Brush, where we look at what's really going on underneath the image. On today's episode, it's when art gets political. From Goya's 3rd of May to the Guerrilla Girls. War, activism, feminism. Art is protest. Art is weapon. Because sometimes the point isn't to decorate the wall. Sometimes the point is to challenge the room. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Art has always been political. Kings used it, churches used it, empires used it. Portraits were propaganda before propaganda had a name. So the question isn't, when did art become political? The question is, when did artists start turning the weapon around? When did art stop flattering power and start exposing it? For that, we go to Spain. We go to 1808. We go to Francisco Goya. Goya paints the 3rd of May, 1808, like a bruise you can't cover up. On one side, a firing squad, faceless, rigid, mechanical. Not individuals, not souls. A machine. On the other side, civilians, terrified, human, collapsing into each other. And in the center, one man in a white shirt, arms raised. He's not heroic in the usual way. He's not a triumphant general on a horse. He looks like a person who knows the world is about to do something unforgivable. That white shirt, it's a spotlight. Those raised arms, they echo a crucifixion pose. And here's the twist. This isn't a religious painting about salvation. This is a painting about violence, about what armies do when they treat people like problems to be removed. Goya isn't making war look glorious. He's making war look like what it is, a catastrophe with paperwork. And that's what makes it political. Not because it has a flag in it, but because it refuses to excuse the brutality. It says, you did this. This happened. Look. Art is witness. And that idea, the artist is witness, becomes a fuse that keeps burning. Fast forward, and the political image evolves. It travels. It leaves the gallery and hits posters, murals, newspapers, television. It becomes something that can be repeated, copied, distributed. Because protest needs reach. And one of the most powerful shifts in this, artists stop asking for permission to be included and start building their own megaphones. Sometimes that megaphone looks like a mural on a wall. Sometimes it looks like a performance in public space. Sometimes it looks like a print you can slap onto a city like a sticker. Because political art isn't just about expression, it's about impact. It doesn't just want you to feel something, it wants you to do something. Now let's talk about the art world itself. Because the museum is not a neutral zone, it's a gate. And for a long time, the gatekeepers looked around and said, women? Sure. Artists of color? Maybe. But mostly, let's keep the walls familiar. And in the 1980s, a group appears and says, Absolutely not. They call themselves the Guerrilla Girls. They wear gorilla masks, yes, gorilla, because anonymity becomes their power. Their identity isn't the point. The numbers are. They use posters, billboards, bold text, sarcasm, and facts that sting. They don't show up with a polite petition. They show up with the receipts. They ask questions institutions hate. Who gets shown? Who gets collected? Who gets paid? Who gets remembered? And they do it in a language the street understands. Fast, sharp, unmistakable. The genius of the Guerrilla Girls is that they turn the system's own obsession, visibility, into a weapon. They understand a brutal truth. If you control the wall, you control the story. If you control the story, you control history. So they fight history in real time, and they do it with humor that cuts. Because comedy can slide past defenses and then hit you in the ribs. Here's the thing. Political art doesn't look like one thing. It can be dark and painterly like Goya. It can be graphic and punchy like Guerrilla Girls. It can be intimate, personal, diary-like, or loud in public. Political art can be beautiful. Political art can be ugly. Political art can be funny. Political art can be devastating. What makes it political isn't the aesthetic. It's the intent. It's the refusal to pretend. It's the decision to say, this matters. This is happening, and I'm not going to let you look away. And sometimes it's also a risk. Because when art challenges power, power pushes back. If you've ever said, I don't want politics in my art, I get it. Sometimes you want softness. Sometimes you want escape. Sometimes you want a world that doesn't feel like a headline. But here's the twist. Even the choice to avoid politics can be political. Because silence doesn't exist in a vacuum. The artists we're talking about today, they weren't making content. They were making pressure. They were creating images that could survive beyond the moment. So future generations wouldn't be able to say, I didn't know. Goya says, you knew. The Guerrilla Girls say, you know. And the rest of us, we decide what we do with that knowing. Art doesn't fix the world on its own, but it changes what the world can't ignore. It gives shape to anger. It gives language to grief. It gives visibility to the erased. It can comfort the powerless, and it can haunt the powerful. Because the point isn't to be approved. The point is to be seen. Art doesn't ask permission. It demands to be seen. When the world is loud with propaganda, silence can feel safer. But art has never been about safety. Art is about witness, about making something that says, I was here, I saw it, and I won't let you erase it. So whether you're staring at Goya's horror or laughing at the Guerrilla Girls' receipts, remember, this isn't history trapped behind glass. It's a toolkit. Because the moment you make an image with intention, you're shaping what can be seen and what can be said. This has been Art Happens, the divine mess of art history, presented by J-Squared Atelier. I'm James William Moore, and wherever you are, keep making, keep resisting, keep telling the truth. Art doesn't ask permission, it demands to be seen.